That's your choice.
It's not a hill you have to worry about, Tony.
That's what I was wondering, yeah.
You could just walk out, Andrew, and then we don't have a quorum, so. Make it pretty quick.
I think Tim and, at least Tim's here.
That's the updated ledger for all the business district money and the donation agreement money.
How's it going, Matt?
Good, how are you guys?
Okay.
How are you? Good, how are you?
We'll call this meeting to order, please. Roll call.
Emmerich,
Here.
Mallard,
Here.
Maxine,
Yes.
Devil,
Here.
Burtmeister.
Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to recognize our guests. We have Daniel Sheen with us tonight. He's going to be addressing the zoning variance. They're under new business. And where's my sheet at? And Betty, would you like to speak now, or would you like to speak under the public comments at the end?
Doesn't matter, whatever.
I see here you would like to speak about a ditch and water. Okay, the floor is yours.
Whenever it rains and the bus barn, their ditch fills up, my yard fills up to the bottom of my first step, but in Neville's ditch, there's hardly ever any water. So, you know, it's coming up to my ditch. I have a crawl space. My furnace is kind of under there, and if that fills up, then it gets wet. I know there's, on the north side of my driveway, there's a round thing that's got holes in it, like a cistern thing, but it's covered with dirt, and I mean, there's no water draining down in it, but there's no water draining past my house or the bus barn.
Okay.
You know, and it's been like that for years, and I've asked and asked and asked and asked.
We did jet that last year. And the part of the problem is down by the railroad tracks, or at the railroad tracks, underneath the railroad tracks, that culvert has collapsed.
Okay.
And Bill said that he contacted the railroad on that. I have no idea what has been gone on from there. But the culvert is gone underneath the railroad tracks. And then if you drive by the railroad tracks, you can actually see all the gravel settling down into the culvert. So it does not drain out of town like it's supposed to.
Okay.
So it's on the railroad. I can't do anything to fix it.
Well, we can try to contact the railroad again.
Okay.
Possibly you and Matt look into that.
Yep.
And I mean, if they're not gonna get around to do it, if they give us permission to do it, I mean, how hard would it be to fix?
Well, it's underneath the railroad tracks. You gotta
Oh, it's
put-
underneath it?
Yes, yes. You're gonna have to put a new culvert.
Like back there by
underneath the
Jim
tracks.
Boys,
Past Jim
where you guys
Boys.
dug that out
By
a
the
couple?
molasses plant.
Well, this is right next to the molasses plant,
Okay.
out there on
Josh,
McDonald Street.
doesn't one culvert, like the one going north and south, isn't it like 3 foot past the one going east and west?
Which one?
The one going north and south, the same way as the railroad tracks? Isn't it like 3 foot past the one that's going?
There's
east and-
one that ties in on the west side of the tracks. It's just open right now. But
Okay.
that
No, I
just
mean,
comes out of the
it's
corner of the
just-
building.
You know, my yard's full of water.
Right, well, my yard was full of water when it rained too. There's no, I mean,
But
this
mine's
last
every,
rain,
mine's every time though.
every time?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to look at it when it
It-
rains.
it does
because it was a
flood a lot
bad
down
example
there.
this last time when it rained. I had several
Well, I
phone calls
understand
about water
because
in
the
the yard, but
ground's
there was nowhere,
frozen.
yes.
It's not going anywhere, but in the summer, it's up to my steps because it's not draining somewhere. And like I said, and I know you guys did blow some of that out, but it's not going down to Brian Neville's ditch like it is ours. I mean, ours fills up.
Right,
You know, the bus barn gets water sometimes clear up to the bus barn, and there's nothing in Brian's ditch.
We've got a
Does
lot
it,
of
does
culverts
it rise
to
right
jet.
there?
Not too much,
Does,
no.
does it start, is that a low spot to where it rises as it goes to 121? Because I know it doesn't drain to 121 worth of darn.
Well, a lot of that's because that culvert's collapsed underneath the tracks.
Okay.
I know we're gonna be jetting pretty much all the culverts in town again, so we can go through and jet it again and see if that helps. I'm not saying it's going to, but.
Now, is Vine Street clear?
it
Did you
should-
jet
I mean,
under
that's,
there?
we jetted underneath there last year, so.
And I keep my ditches clean, you know, I try and keep all
Right.
the leaves out of it and stuff, cause I don't like the water, you know, it's just, but I mean, it's, anytime we get a bad rain, whether it's January or July, I have water, because it's not going anywhere, it's just,
I think part of the problem is where your driveway goes across, your driveway is a little bit higher up than where the ditch drains into. If you could lower your driveway so it's got more of a dip, so the water can actually drain
well, that
off.
ain't happening. What am I gonna do with all that rock?
Well, I mean, you still have the rock, but I'm just making a little swale for the water to come through.
At the end,
Right there, 120, or not, on Vine Street and your driveway.
like
Just make it a little bit lower so that water can drain out of your yard, because, I mean, the gravel's a little higher than your yard right now, so.
well, I know my yard's low,
Yeah, it is. So,
but, you know, it's just, it's up to my step every time we get
Yeah.
a bad rain, and it's,
We understand. So we'll look at jetting again
Yeah,
and then
we'll
try,
jet
and
that
then try to
again.
get a hold of the railroad.
yep,
You know, follow up on whatever Bill started, let's try to get that fixed.
will do.
thank you.
Thank you
Yep.
for your concern. Is that all you had, or?
The paper that we got in the mail about the pipes, the water,
Yes.
what is that?
That is in response to a plan of action that the EPA requested upon us. They require the city to survey every 3 years, I believe it is, to identify possibilities of cross-contamination. Sometimes that can happen within the home. It's more of just a survey for EPA purposes to follow their protocol.
Okay. Cool, thank you.
So, yep. Approval of the consent agenda, which includes the claims and accounts and the minutes.
AEP Energy, $2,397.75. Ameren, Illinois, $1,721.68. Cargill, $6,526.79. Casey's General Store, $1,140.33. INB, $4,422.41. INB Visa, $2,392.55.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Is there any public comments on the agenda items? Officer reports. Tony,
I don't have anything right now, everything's going pretty good, so.
any new word on the radios, or still on the hunt?
I spoke with the radio, the gentleman with that today. Probably gonna get them coming in about the early part of May. I have to fill out some forms and get approved through the Motorola,
Gotcha.
and then, which is possibly this month or next month. So I'm getting the process going. Like I said, I've got a couple radios, a couple extra chargers and batteries, just, cause that's my main, I'm gonna go with those radios. And then if they ever have to revert back to the old system, I'm gonna have the car radios.
You'll have the car ones in there.
But I think that will suit us for
Okay.
what we need, so.
Anybody have anything for Tony? Public Works, Matt was not able to make it tonight. Is there any update on the water and sewer? Aaron's not here either.
I'm not, I was gonna ask Matt about the sewer project, I haven't heard about that for a while, but,
The force main?
yeah. Other than that, I'm not sure. I do have a couple things, like, on the water side, so we tried to get income surveys last year in that area of town. We did not get a very good response rate, so we're gonna send out a mailer this year, and if they fill out the survey, we're gonna offer $10 off on their water bill, so maybe you get questions about that, whatever.
What was, I remember reading the email from Lee, I think that, don't you have to have like a 60%? Isn't there a percentage that you have to get of income surveys returned before you can even be considered for the grant?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't remember what the percentage was, but of the percentage that you get back, to be eligible, 51 of the percent have to be, below whatever line.
Below whatever line of income, yes.
And then, a couple of things, I don't know, Josh, I was gonna talk to Matt, but since you're here,
Yeah.
the flower pots. Megan, like, at the end of last year, there was talk about moving one of the flower pots in front of the Vinegar Hill Tavern to, across from Don Maxheimer on that corner, back to where it originally went. So, I don't know, she might contact you.
Okay. Can do.
And then, gravel at the recycling areas, like right now, it's pretty muddy if you go down there.
Is that city property or is that elevator property? I was always under the impression that that was elevators, so I've never touched it.
That's a good question. I think we can still put gravel down, I mean, it's for the benefit of the city.
Okay.
No, just
If
because.
anybody thinks otherwise.
Yeah, it's,
I just got gravel in, so I can do that. That's what you guys want me to do, so.
Does anybody think that's a bad idea to put?
really saw this.
I'll check the map afterwards.
I know Becky said something to me about it the other day, so.
And I bet if you said something to Todd Ferris, he'd probably be pretty responsive about it.
Okay.
He's usually pretty good about that kind of stuff.
Will do.
Maybe you guys come up with a 50-50 split or something. Anything else from Public Works? Did you have a question about the easements?
Well, no.
And, okay. I was gonna say Andrew,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna be able to answer the questions.
Well, so the engineering company sent me some easements wanting me to look at them, but they weren't signed by the property owner yet.
Okay.
So I don't,
For the water main extensions, correct?
yeah, I think that's right.
That was more just like, the plan was just for your information, if you saw anything major with them.
Yeah, no, well, and I know that the engineer said that they wanted to get them,
Signed by now? Yeah.
well, signed and then filed so that they could start doing the work, but, so,
Okay.
I mean, from my perspective, everything looks okay, but I didn't want somebody waiting on me
Nope, I don't think.
doing something because, again, they weren't signed, so. But let me know if I can be of assistance on that if somebody needs something else, so.
I don't believe so, but I'll double check.
Anything else for water, sewer, streets, and alleys? City treasurer, treasurer's report?
Our deposit since last meeting, $18,389.65. That does include the business district tax. And, Tim and I will be starting on the budget, so, if the department heads, Tony and Matt, have anything, they know that's coming up this next year that we need to make sure we put in a line item, shoot me an email, so we can make sure we get that in there. Like the radios, or, if there's gonna be any expense like that, extras, out of the ordinary, new car, whatever.
Yeah.
Anything else for Trish? Old business, I see that there is none unless somebody had something. New business, we'll go to that second item, that way Daniel can get on with his night. The zoning variance, that would be it's got the map about the wind tower. Did everybody get that? Would you like to say something or explain a little bit, Daniel, or probably better coming from you?
Sure. Thank you all for your time tonight. And yeah, it's just fairly simple request. The proposed siding for the one turbine you're looking at falls within the county ordinance specification that the turbine be placed 1.5 miles from the edge of the city jurisdiction, so to speak. So, yeah, we would request a variance from Mount Pulaski to allow that turbine to be sited a little bit closer than the 1.5 miles. So, as you can see on the map, it's just a little over 6,000 feet away from the very tip of where the John Deere dealer, AHW, kind of ticks out there to the edge of town. So, when I was mapping it, it's just a little over 1.3 miles from the tower to the nearest residence in town, just to give you an idea on that. But, so yeah, that's basically, it's pretty simple and straightforward on that side of it. And just give you a little background on that letter that we drafted that you see for that draft. The town of New Holland over west of Lincoln did something similar for the proposed project that's going over there. The president of the council actually just signed a letter saying that they would waive the right to restrict that. I think they had one, possibly two turbines that were within 1.5 miles of New Holland. So that was the genesis of that letter that you're seeing there that we went and put together as a draft, just to give you something to go off of for that.
Since this is a change in zoning, I had Jordan look into it. Is this something that we have to post for 30 days to our residents to see if they have any discrepancy with it? Or is this just more giving the county permission?
Maybe we could talk about it after the meeting.
Okay. If that's the case, then there'll be no action taken at this meeting. What do you think, Tim?
I think that's the best way forward,
Okay.
since it was just presented to us tonight, so.
Okay. Can you make sure to get that zoning variance on the next agenda? Anybody have any questions for Daniel? Next meeting's in 2 weeks, so that'll be about the timeline that we should have a decision made by then.
Okay, that sounds great to me. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Are you under a deadline to get something like this approved?
As soon as possible. Most likely that restriction will come out as a condition for the conditional use permit for us to satisfy by the time we start construction. So we're shooting to start construction May 1st.
Okay.
The latest May 15th in that area, so.
When is the county voting on the conditional use permit?
Well, they'll vote on the permit to be issued next week at the board meeting, and then we'll have, that'll start that 30-day or 45-day clock for us to fulfill all those conditions.
Oh, okay.
So I think we've still got a little time to get things done the way that they need to be done.
Okay.
All right.
Daniel?
Thank you guys very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Business district appropriation, there was a economic development board meeting last night. That is the grant application from Ron Stewart at the Farmer's Family Restaurant. Did everybody get that copy? Looks like they're doing serious improvements to it, which it probably needs. It looks like the estimated cost of the project was $7,900. They are asking us from the business district funds to cover the gravel, it looks like. $1,100 for the gravel for the outside parking. Definitely fits within the goals of our our redevelopment project. I'll open it up for discussion or entertain a motion to approve this grant for $1,100.
Does anybody know, are they blacktopping the whole area?
There's I didn't get the bid. I thought I printed off did everybody get a bid on the back side of it? It looked like it was blacktop, wasn't it?
Yes,
If I read through it
blacktop.
right.
There's
$8,000 for that whole area?
there's a
Did we get that
35,
quote for that place over here that was like, I guess that was concrete.
That was concrete, yes.
big difference. Basically 3,500 square feet, the 40 by 45 area and the 72 by 20 area.
Did the economic board recommend recommend?
Yes, they did recommend it, passed in unanimously.
I'll miss the little pond, but I'll make a motion to approve the economic board's recommendation
Of $1,100.
of $1,100.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Emmerich,
Yes.
Canower,
Yes.
Mansheimer,
Yes.
Neville,
Yes.
Burmeister.
Motion passes. And the other thing that I had was the Ameren lighting assessment. Did everybody get that? And what did not? I might have mine. Let me see if I left mine. I grabbed it. Sorry about that. So Ameren, Illinois has all kinds of rebates and stuff like that when you upgrade to certain levels of energy saving and energy efficiency incentives. A man by the name of Evan Grifford, I believe his last name was Grifford, from Titan Lighting, came and did an assessment a week or two ago. He also did, Tim was the one that came up with this because he did work down at the library. what,
They
last-
participated in the same program as what this is, and they were very satisfied with how he evaluated and installed these lighting, so. And it's a pretty good deal, as you can see from the numbers presented.
And from the way he explained it to me, we will, he does the work and we just pay what our share is and then Ameren pays him, so there's no exchange of money. It's not like we pay the full amount and then have to fill out rebate forms from Ameren. It's up for discussion. He just did City Hall, the shop, upstairs, and the basement. If we want to have him come back out and do more of our properties, we can. We can pick and choose which one we want to go with now. We can get somebody else to get a bid. Obviously, that's all up for discussion, so.
You said he did upstairs?
I believe he did.
Yes.
They're the last two items on the second page.
It looks pretty good because he's replacing several of the light fixtures that are incompatible with the new LED lighting, and they're Ameren subsidizing it too, so.
Like new ballasts and stuff.
No, it says
Oh, fixture.
fixture replacement, so if Ameren's subsidizing that, from that perspective, so.
Actually, that's where the biggest line items are at.
Yes. Because in the other project, there was some uncertainty about whether the ballast would be compatible with the LED lighting, and that was like $100 extra, but in here, it looks like he's got the fixtures actually being replaced to accommodate the new LED lights, so I can't foresee it being a significant cost overrun, even if he runs into some incompatible fixtures, because it seems like he's addressed that issue in the evaluation.
So this is just more of me presenting this to you guys. If you don't want to take action on it and think about it, or go another route with a different assessment, obviously that's all up for discussion. or a motion can be made to accept it. And go ahead with the, with the upgrade of the lighting.
KFAX 15 volts potential.
Yes. What it looks like. That's 1,583 a year. Yeah, that's on the first page.
Do you feel like this is a good deal with them?
Yes. So it was a good deal at the library, and I feel for $1,800 or whatever that we're paying, we're getting everything in the offices here, the 2 garage bays and upstairs, several new light fixtures and LED lighting to kind of keep our costs down going forward, and 1 year's pretty good. That's kind of where I ended up with, so I agreed with Matt, when we talked about it a couple months ago of going through the evaluation process, so.
Well, who's that character?
I'm that issue.
I'm in favor.
I don't know if I necessarily need do I need a motion for this? Can I, will it just be when the bills are approved? This is always a question.
Well, it's a new expenditure, right?
Yes,
That hasn't been allotted for before.
no,
Yeah, so you gotta vote.
okay.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Emmerich,
Yes.
Canower,
Yes.
Maxheimer,
Yes.
Neville.
Yep.
Meister.
Yes.
Motion passes. I'll print off the paperwork. The email was a little bit longer than this, it just had the forms and stuff. I'll get that stuff signed, and I will contact Evan tomorrow, and I don't know how long I don't know what's on his schedule, but, looks like we'll be getting some new lights shortly, so. Other business? Anybody have any other miscellaneous business?
Potholes.
Yeah,
Are we filling in?
I'm out of blacktop patch right now. We're waiting till all the snow's gone. Once we know that all the snow is gone, then we'll go get more patch. So, but I started patching holes in the alleys today, so
I know McDonald Street,
patience.
there's that one spot that,
That you drive over every day?
no, I get over on the left side of the road and the oncoming person gives me a bad look.
I know where you're talking.
It's been talked about before, Josh, and I don't know if it was been brought up since you've been employed with us. Is there any way we could grade the south side of McDonald Street with that hump before it hits the ditch? Water sits in the road, it does not drain in the ditch.
Yeah, I can
Do you think
scalp-
that
I can
might be
scalp it off
possible to
the back
scalp
up.
along
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, wait for the better weather, or,
I'll wait till it dries up a little bit, otherwise.
do we have a
it's-
grader that could do that, or you could just use?
We've got a
the-
grader, but I don't even know if it runs. It hasn't ran since I
Can you
started.
just like put a blade on the back, I mean, yeah.
I mean, I can do a lot with the skid steer that we have. And I can do stuff with the bucket too.
Right?
On the backhoe, so.
Take a look at it, assess it, to see if you
Okay.
think it might be something that might be worth our time to help that water get in the ditch.
It definitely
Because along the
helps.
south side, that's where that water sits,
I know.
and it has for
does.
years.
And there's multiple roads in here in town that are like that, so.
Have you been putting rock in the worst spots temporarily until you get around to it?
No, I have not.
Okay. Just something to consider on the main drags like McDonald Street.
Well, I could, but the problem is people fly up and down those roads, the rock's not
Okay.
gonna stay in there very long. So,
I was
if it's
more
a slower
optimistic
road, I
than-
can put some rock in, but
We'll simply wait.
I'll do what I can when I can.
Do you think, we'll have to start our motor fuel tax resolution here shortly in the coming months. Do you think renting a grader, I know that you can do a lot with the skid steer and the backhoe, but do you think putting in the motor fuel tax resolution to rent some type of grader from Sunbelt would be worth our time and would do a better job, or
I don't know, I'd have to discuss that with Matt and see what he thinks.
see if that might be something we can put in the resolution.
Alright. I know a
'Cause
bucket
that's,
truck
that
would be
mean
nice.
if that, what's that?
A bucket truck or a, something to get me up into these trees. We got a lot of trees that need to come down. I'm surprised they have not came down in the last storms we've had.
So we can rent one, I mean, we don't need motor fuel tax resolution to do that.
No, we don't.
Okay.
If we got a solid list of, like, if we can rent a bucket truck and
Okay.
knock out a good chunk of our list in a couple of days, I think.
Right.
I think we approved that last time.
Yes, and I don't think the motor fuel tax can touch the tree work anyways.
Okay, that's
so.
fine.
Any other miscellaneous business? Only other thing I had was, I gave you guys a budget, or, basically the ledger of what's going on with our business district fund, and also a ledger of the activity on the donation agreement from Enel. That was passed out at last night's development board meeting. That's just kind of a rundown. I think the business district ledger is all the way from the beginning of when we started attaining that 1% sales tax on those items. So, if anybody has any questions, probably Tim or Trish would be the best person to talk to about that. They're the ones that kind of do the book work on it. Anytime there's an expenditure of grant money, that would have been something that would have been approved by us, so. Is there anything else I'm missing from the development board? Oh, we were approved for a grant, local
Local foods, local places.
foods, local places, yes. They put kind of a steering committee together, the development board, well, with a number of members, and it's not really so much granted money, but I think more of a technical assistance program. Some experts will come in and have some roundtables and try to point us in the right direction as far as how we can get our grocery, how we can evolve with the local food and local places idea of small communities, seeing as how the grocery stores are kind of going on the wayside. And that'll probably happen sometime in June. I would imagine anyone's welcome to attend.
That's the impression I got. There was gonna be an event in July and something at the Fall Festival, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Does that?
I
is
believe
that
so,
how you-
yes.
Yeah, so.
I'll get some more information for the next meeting.
It was
to
just
give you guys
awarded
about
in the
that.
last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was just
so-
awarded, last week or so,
Yeah.
so.
So it's just in tentative schedule at this juncture, I should say, so.
No, but other than that, I think the grocery store side of the business development's moving right along. It sounds like we might be able to get a co-op possibly that has some interest by the end of the year. I think isn't that what Tom said last night? That's very tentative. I'm not going to promise
Very tentative
I'm
that
not going to promise that, but
I guess right now, and I was surprised too at the time frame of possibly July having that up and running, so.
was that over at the shop? Is that
Yes.
the location?
Yeah. Yeah, so that was further along than I was aware of it, but there's a separate steering committee for that program, so.
Bill Cavastini came to the meeting in February and offered free rent for a year if somebody wanted to put a grocery store or a co-op where Jewel's Flower Shop used to be. So we'll have to commend Bill for that. That's a huge donation to the community to help our businesses, and we thank him very much for that. It's a big deal.
And also, there's a community garden being developed right now too, so.
Yes.
That would be the other thing I just thought of that's in progress that Tom Martin's putting together on some of his property on North Marion Street, so. Again, details about that's gonna be coming out over the next few weeks, because we're getting closer to the spring gardening season, I should say, so.
The website, Renee's been picking away at it. Obviously, if continue to get on there to see changes. If if you see anything that you think needs changed or needs attention, just make sure to let us know. We'll try to address it. I didn't have any other miscellaneous business unless somebody else did. there any public comments on the non-agenda items? Josh, would you like to speak about that now?
Yeah, that's fine. Gene down at the bus barn has gotten hold of me multiple times over the last year about being a backup emergency bus driver. And to me, it's extra money. Money in the pocket would be great. As far as this job goes, I'm not going anywhere. This is my main job, and this will always be my main job, working for the city. This would be more along lines of sporting events or after-hour work, unless there was, for some reason, an emergency where he needed somebody immediately to get kids out of school, or, natural disaster or anything like that. And he needs a bus driver now, I would be in town and be available. But other than that, it would be extracurricular activity, I guess you could say, driving a bus. I wanted to make sure it was okay with everybody else. I know in the bylaws, or in the employee handbook, that it states that this is my job and this is my only job. And nothing interferes with my only job, but I just wanted to run past you guys and see what you think. It's a win-win for the community in my eyes. I mean, I'm here working and I'm here to help for the bus route if they need somebody, so.
I think the obvious question that anybody's gonna ask before we figure out the rest of it is like, you wanna be paid by both entities at the same time.
I'm sorry, what?
You wanna be paid by both entities at the same time, right? Like if you were to drive a bus for 2 hours during normal working hours.
No. And I was telling Bobo about it, and I said if it came down an emergency and they need somebody right now, I'd be more than happy to use my personal hours, my personal time off, use that time up. If it came down to it, I'm sure there's fine details and everything.
Well, I think, in my personal opinion, everybody has theirs. To me, that's up to you. If you're gonna take off at 3 o'clock or at 2:30 in the afternoon to drive a bus when there's not a whole lot going on in the city and Gene has an emergency, to me, you don't necessarily have to use your PTO. You can either take it time not paid or use your paid time off.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily require you to add up to 40. You work 35 hours and you use 5 hours driving a bus. You don't have to take 5 hours if you don't want
Okay.
to. You just take that time unpaid. I was just trying to find exactly where it said it at.
I'm fine with that approach.
I don't know where it's at. It might not be in here. I thought it said something in here, but I don't see it.
Because it's not gonna happen that often,
It doesn't seem like it, no. As long as you're not, if you're working for the buses, you're not getting paid by the city. I think
Yeah.
that's pretty understandable on everyone's terms, so,
Well, that's any job.
absolutely. This is true. Does anybody else have any thoughts on this, or is okay with it?
I'm okay with it. If they would have some sporting events or something like that, that would be, extra funds for you, so. What's the problem with that?
Well, thank you.
Okay. Any other public comments on the non-agenda items? Any call for executive session? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Thanks, Betty.
You're welcome.
Josh,
All those in favor, please say aye.
I'll see you, Matt.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Can I take this?
Yes.
I also saw this.